First of all, let me tell you this. Maybe this is a little surprise for you and for the audience. The biggest terrorist in this world and who exists on the American soil, he's everywhere. He's the God of Islam, the God of the Quran. Because with
Are
his
you saying Muhammad? Muhammad.
No, I am talking about the God of the Quran, Allah.
Oh,
of the
Allah.
Quran.
I'm sorry. Okay, Allah. Okay.
Allah of the Quran, who has the authority over the Quran, and he is the biggest terrorist. Muhammad himself is a terrorist. And those groups, they are not more than victims following his teachings and his orders.
So are you saying that those who follow the Quran can't help but do what the terrorists do, that it calls for them to do that? It calls for all Muslims to do that if they're followers of the Quran. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's very clear in the Quran. You go to Surah 9, which is chapter 9, verse 5 and verse 29, and you will find what the God of Islam asking his followers, everybody who believes in him, to kill Christians, Jews, infidels, if they don't accept Islam as the only religion for their lives.
So when people say, and George Bush has said it, and Barack Obama has said it, and I've said it, but when people say, and it's not all Muslims who are terrorists. Because they're not. But we're missing something here. We're helping their cause. We're making it easier for terrorists and the Islamic revolutionaries and the jihadists when we lull ourselves into believing that it's just a small little minority that believe that. Am I right? What percentage of Muslims do you believe?
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And when Muslims, this is why I say the majority of Muslims are not terrorists, and the majority of Muslims don't understand Islam. Once they understand Islam, they understand what the God of Islam wants from them, they become terrorists. And now, when they come and say that Islam is a religion of peace, simply they are given a cover for a bunch of criminals, bunch of terrorists, jihadists, and being partners with them or partnering with them. So simply, before they say that Islam is a religion of peace, they need to study Islam and understand what Islam. About presidents, yes, I hear their speeches, and I tell you there is lack of knowledge, and they need to educate themselves about what Islam and know the difference between Muslims and Islam. I understand that the U.S. president, in his position, is a huge responsibility, and he doesn't want to offend the quarter of population of Earth by any mean. But what I say, that the president need to know the difference between Islam and Muslims, be honest about it. If he can't talk about it, I rather that he doesn't talk about it at all.
We're talking to Mosab Hassan Yousef, whose father was a founding member of Hamas, and Mosab was a turned informant for the Israelis. He's now converted to Christianity. He's here in the United States. The book is Son of Hamas. Let me ask you about, and I know people are going to go buy the book because your story is, it's an amazing story. But I'm more interested right now also in letting the people hear the things you have to say. I think they're listening with their ears perked up. What do you think about what's your opinion then of your father, for instance? He was a founding member of Hamas. You portray him in the book as somebody who had problems, who wasn't thrilled about what the people he sent out to do were doing and killing civilians, women and children, but yet he ordered them to do it. He ran an organization, a terrorist organization. Looking back now on your father, what do you think of him?
Yes, I love my father as a person, and I love Muslims as human beings. They are human beings. They're just like us. They suffer of what we suffer, and in fact, they have been enslaved for the last 1,400 years under the rule of God, who doesn't have a minimum amount of morality. And therefore on a prophet who is absolutely a criminal. So my father is a victim, like all other Muslims. I don't blame him. You know something? I am very surprised how Muslims keep a minimum of humanity after reading the Quran, after being in that society. If you were in that society, probably you wouldn't be doing this show today. Maybe you will be carrying a gun and shooting with them. This is how they grow up. This is how they learn. Yes, today it's different world, and we need to educate them that it's their choice, and they can say no to their God, and stop partnering with him. Our problem is not with Muslims. Our problem is not with a bunch of terrorists. Yes, they are a problem, and if they are using the sword, by the sword will be their judgment. But what I say, that our biggest problem, which is bigger than Bin Laden, bigger than a bunch of terrorists in Afghanistan mountains, is the God of Islam, who exists here in America, who exists in every library, mosque, Islamic institution. He's free to travel all over the world and have influence on people.
Well, what do you mean? You mean through the Quran?
Through the Quran.
All right. So what should happen? What would you do to stop it? Should the Quran be banned? Should it be burned?
Exactly. This is what I'm asking for today. And
what? Tell me in your own words. Go ahead.
I ask clearly that the Quran must be banned from America, from the free world, for its contents that ask for killing innocent people or people who disagree with the cause of Islam. I ask that this Quran be banned, and any Muslim activity, if they want also to be banned on the American soil.
And so if you had a chance to speak to Barack Obama, that's what you would ask for?
Yes, absolutely.